One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel, and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Whistles report and paves his way. More legend in the making, day by day.
Good morning to everybody. Let's get this one in. Shout out to all of you guys in the chat, man. Big round of applause to each and every single one of you guys, a part of the Breakfast Club, man. Much love, honor, respect to everybody. Can't appreciate you guys enough. Just to top it off, before we've even gone live, man, we had Brother Shadow gifting out a membership, man. Thank you, kind sir. We've got a little bit of a interesting morning going on. As you guys can see in the intro there, I was showing my own comments there that I was getting blocked on my own platform. I don't know, every time that we have topics such as this, for some reason, YouTube comments seem to struggle to come through. I'm not very sure why. And also we had, Brother Shadow giving out a membership, but it didn't show who it went to. So I very much appreciate that, Shadow. And I know that's been a little bit of a glitch going on. I don't know if that's YouTube's glitch or if it's because, well, we've got this going on. So if you guys can do me a favor, okay, because we did that before the live stream. Now that we've started, I want somebody in the chat to go ahead and test out the gifted membership and see if it goes out to anybody correctly. It's bugged, boys. It's bugged legitimately. I want to see if we can fix it. So anyways, much love, honor, respect to everybody. We've got a very interesting one. The IDF has supposedly killed 60 people in Israeli airstrike in Lebanon. So we're going to go ahead and get into that. There's actually some more information to go about on this. We're going to report on that. But good morning to you guys. Hopefully you guys are all having a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon, wherever the hell you guys are from, man. I'm very much appreciate it. We got Serious Shelby up in the building, gifting out a membership. It did not show. Damn, I'm looking on my phone right here. It did not show who it went to. See, it's bugged, boys. I told you, it's fucking bugged. But obviously, it still counts. It still shows that I get, I get the membership and stuff like that. It shows on my side, but it won't show who it went to. So that's pretty fucking lame. But Shelby, I very much appreciate the patronage to the channel, kind sir. Good to see all of you legends up in here. We got Hardwire. It's Hardwire's 48th birthday this morning. Let's get it. Happy motherfucking birthday, old man. Feels ultra good, man. Rebecca, good to see you over here, as well as Glare, 1%er. Evil, appreciate you, my man, as always. Barbie, good to see you over there in Canada. Huggy, good morning, kind sir. All right, so let's go ahead and get into some craziness that we've got. But before we do, hold up. Make sure to hit that like button. It's the number one metric of all of YouTube, man. I very much appreciate you guys doing that. It is free to do so. Make sure to hit that like button. And make sure to hit that subscribe button as well if you're not subscribed yet. So let's go ahead and hop into the news and see what is going on. This is off of Live Now from Fox. This was reported 4 hours ago. Let's go ahead and check this out. If it will start. Let me see if I move it over. Oh, it's because it's still live and it's moving. I see. Hold on. There we
Welcome
go.
back to Live Now from Fox. I'm Jeanne Francine, 1 minute shy from the top of the 7 o'clock hour here on the East Coast. And as we are closely approaching, we do want to transition to some breaking news headlines we're following this Wednesday morning as
So
relates
lame,
to
Shelby.
conflict in the Middle East. Take a good look at your screen. This is an area of Khan Yunis, Gaza, a heavily populated area that has been affected by the conflict there in the Middle East. And we're learning the very latest this morning from the Associated Press. Israeli legislation cutting ties with the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees.
Did you guys just hear that? Israeli legislation cutting ties with the United Nations Agency for Palestinian Refugees.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
You guys hear that? That is breaking news this fucking morning. Let me go ahead and rewind that a little bit so you guys can hear what she just said.
Learning the very latest this morning from the Associated Press, Israeli legislation cutting ties with the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, raising fears that the largest provider of aid to Gaza could actually be shut out of the war-ravaged territory, even as the implications
What's
of
up,
the new
Dean?
laws remain unclear Tuesday. The
As well as
agency known as
Tats.
UNRWA
Good morning, good
provides
afternoon to you.
essential services to millions of Palestinians across the Middle East and has underpinned aid efforts in Gaza throughout the Israel-Hamas war.
Now that makes sense, Dean. You know that there was going to be some intel going on within the UN or something like that for this to happen, right? So that makes total fucking sense. Damn.
Barring it from operating in Israel passed with an overwhelming majority Monday. Israel saying UNRWA has allowed itself to be infiltrated by Hamas, with the militants siphoning off aid and using the agency's facilities as shields. UNRWA denying these allegations, saying it is committed to neutrality and acts quickly to address any wrongdoing by its staff. The Associated Press going on to report that the 2 newly passed laws are all but certain to hamper UNRWA's work in Gaza and the occupied West Bank, as Israel controls access to both territories. But the details of how the legislation could be implemented and, of course, potential workarounds remain unclear this morning. And, of course, it could face potential legal challenges in the coming days. Either way, the laws could have major consequences for Palestinians there in Gaza who are heavily reliant on emergency food aid more than a year into this war that has killed tens of thousands.
You guys just called it right there, the food aid and how they're just stealing the food and supplies. Blair called it right there. Boom.
Coming from local officials who don't distinguish combatants from civilians. Displaced 90% of the population of 2.3 million, and they're reporting much of the territory is left
I get that, Rebecca. Almost like it's getting numb.
You can actually see it in real time, the devastation from the Israel-Hamas war, as conflict not only with Hamas continues for Israel, but also conflict with Hezbollah, Iran, and the Yemen Houthi rebels. So just wanted to provide that update for you on that front. Now, there was another Israeli strike in northern Gaza, which reportedly killed dozens of people. This occurring as the Hezbollah terror group chose a new leader. Fox News senior foreign
right now the new leader was picked, right? And I guess that was yesterday or some shit. And then
Here's correspondent Greg Palpit joining us from Haifa, Israel, with the very latest.
Holy shit, Garrett. That's terrible. Hopefully you get that handled, dude.
The body count builds in the war in the Mideast. At least 94 killed in an Israeli attack on a northern Gaza residential building. Israel said it was going after Hamas. The Gaza health ministry said 25 women and children were killed.
Damn.
And some 60 were killed in an Israeli attack on what they say was a Hezbollah base in a town in the northeast of Lebanon. This as Hezbollah unveiled its new leader following last month's assassination of Hassan Nasrallah. His name is Nam Qassem. He's been the group's deputy since the 90s. While not as charismatic as his predecessor, he still packs a punch.
Threats won't stop us. We don't fear the most dangerous possibilities. We're ready to face all military scenarios.
Why has he got such a high voice? I mean, I thought I had a high voice. This motherfucker over here like... What the fuck is going on?
Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, however, not impressed. Posting on X with Qassem's picture.
What's up, Joker? Good to see you, man.
Temporary appointment, not for long.
Oh, shit.
This as concern grows about yesterday's Knesset decision to ban from Israel
it is normal,
the UN
Rebecca.
agency aiding Palestinians in Gaza.
They play a role right now that at least today cannot be filled by anyone else.
Israel claims UN staffers are involved in terror. It's even called for the outsourcing of aid delivery. as more talks about some kind of hostage release and ceasefire in Gaza are set to resume later
Dude,
this
not even fucking joking right there. These guys talk so tough, then go hide in a bunker under a school or a hospital. Yeah, fucking lames. 100%. 100%.
week.
Tough
Despite
guys.
talk downplaying next week's U.S. presidential vote.
We don't foresee any negative result of the elections on the mediation process.
Most think nothing big diplomatically or strategically will happen here until the big decision is made over there. As for Iran, the IDF chief of staff saying late today if Tehran tries anything after Israel's attack last weekend, Israel will, quote, reach Iran with capabilities we didn't even use last time. In Haifa, Israel, Greg Balcott, Fox News.
Yo, we got Hank up in the building with the dollar from Canadian dollar, man. I very much appreciate that, Hank. Appreciate you, my man. Hopefully you're having a wonderful day. Good to see you in the chat as always, Hank.
Greg, thank you so much for that detailed report. And again, giving you another live look there as we're following the very latest of the Israel-Hamas war. As
the diaper fun, bro. I love it.
Following the very latest as Hezbollah has chosen a new leader. I want to give you a live look out in Beirut, Lebanon, where we know Hezbollah has pretty much infiltrated many of the homes in that area of the Lebanese people, using them as human shields as they continue to come up with ways to terrorize the Israeli people and their own people as well. The time now 7:05 here on the East Coast. We're going to go to our first 2-minute commercial break. And when we come back, we have some updates as it relates to the conflict with Russia and Ukraine, the details.
And yeah, we're going to go into, because there's a few topics I actually want to hit since this live stream started this morning. So we're going to skip around a little bit. But we've got some interesting shit going on with Russia and Ukraine that
2 quick minutes
they're about to report on right now. So let's go ahead and skip ahead because we've got that luxury. It's not completely live.
Transition.
All right, here we go.
7:07 here on the East Coast, and staying on top of your breaking news headlines, now transitioning to the very latest as relates to the Russia-Ukraine war. The Pentagon saying around 10,000 North Korean troops are on the ground in Russia and will likely join the
10,000 North Korean troops in Russia. I know some of you guys knew that already, but you know, kind of unreal. North Korean troops in Russia to basically back up Russia from Ukraine, right?
Fight against Ukraine. The escalation stoking fears of a wider war as the U.S. tries to keep
my
up
size
with
America as well, Papa.
in both Europe
100%.
and the Middle East. There's also concern this morning about dwindling weapon supplies in U.S. stockpiles. Fox News correspondent Connor Hansen explains.
Look how that motherfucker's loaded.
Leaders are warning of a dangerous escalation in Russia's war against Ukraine as the conflict nears its 3-year mark. Around 10,000 of North Korea's most elite troops are now training in Russia, and the Pentagon says a small number of those are already deployed to Russia's Kursk region, where Ukrainian forces have taken territory.
It's very dangerous, very dangerous.
Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has been warning about the influx of troops and has asked his Western allies to change
I
their
agree with that,
policies
Steve.
to allow Ukraine.
I think, listen, they have the right, of course, to defend themselves. 100%. But at our expense, that's why I'm also going to be this invested in the media side because, well, we're invested, right?
To strike targets deeper into Russia.
Sometimes I'm very surprised how our big partners, big strategic partners said that we should not
100% Tats.
cross red lines and escalate. But we think that Russia does it itself.
U.S. officials say they're monitoring.
Why is that dude on a fucking podium speaking with headphones on his neck? Like he just took them off, like he was riding in the fucking some seat in an airplane. What are you doing? Why are you have a press conference with fucking headphones around your neck? I can literally hear. I can hear what's in the microphone, in the headset. That's what we're hearing in the back. We're hearing what's actively happening in his headset.
Strategic partners said that
listen,
we should not cross red lines and escalate. But we think that Russia doesn't.
What the fuck is going on?
Itself.
U.S. officials say they're
I guess
monitoring
maybe
the North Korean deployments, but have not taken any action so far.
The microphone is picking that shit up.
The ability to impose sanctions on both Russia and North Korea.
Continued fighting in both Ukraine and the Middle East is creating concerns over reported.
You guys see that shit? Holy shit.
Fighting in both Ukraine and the Middle East is creating concerns over reported missile interceptor shortages in U.S. stockpiles. The weapons have been in high demand from allies defending against missile and drone attacks.
I think we do a pretty good job of managing our capabilities around the world to ensure that we have what we need.
That's right, Hank.
Both Defense
Zelensky is a
Secretary
loser.
Lloyd Austin
And he's an
and
American.
Secretary of State
He
Antony
live in-
Blinken
well,
are scheduled to
He's
meet with their
quote unquote Ukrainian, but he's got a house in Hawaii. Like, what the fuck is going on here, dude?
South Korean counterparts this week to discuss the North Korean troops in Russia.
Probably,
in New York,
Shelby.
Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Connor, thank you so much.
No
for
way. That
detail.
was the speed they were coming down on you over there in Israel on October 7th. I believe that shit. That's fucking brutal, man. Oh,
report here at
can't even
7:09.
imagine.
We're going to go to our second 2-minute commercial break of the hour. But when we come back, we're going to head
Fuck your
out to
commercial break.
Poland for an event that's underway. I'm being told it is a Holocaust monument unveiling. We'll have that when we come back in just 2 quick minutes.
no, we're not going to go to that. We're going to go up here. We've got some shit going on with Trump as well as a little bit going on more in Israel. So hold on. Go ahead and check out this report real quick.
For you here on Live Now from Fox, commercial free with limited interruption and commentary. Now we are checking in with our different Fox affiliates across the country.
I didn't know
for a
that,
look at
Hank.
how they're preparing
Not
for
surprised.
Election Day. It looks like security has been upped over in Maricopa County, Arizona. We
And
want to send it
Miami?
over to our
What?
Fox 10 Phoenix team.
It used to be a one-day security event. The election has now become a weeks-long planning process for Maricopa County law enforcement.
Working in public safety for 35 years in this county, yes, the last 5 years have changed dynamically, and it is sad.
This year, fences around the Maricopa County Election and Tabulation Center are lined in fabric. There are cameras on the roof pointing up to the surrounding buildings. Surveillance officers circle the block, and barbed wire tops the fence protecting the election workers' parking lot. And
So that's for the ballot drop box?
That's a week out from the election. On election day, there will be law enforcement officers in uniform and undercover in plain clothes, drones, a chopper, and the potential for snipers strategically placed on rooftops. Before 2020, the sheriff's office deployed about 50 deputies on election
So
day.
how does this dude that lives in Ukraine, or is the president of Ukraine, right? But has 2 houses in America and has 2 villas in Italy. What the fuck, man? So
and
corrupt.
now they need 200.
Not just our voters, but our staff, myself, our families have come under a lot of threat. We've lost a lot of elections officials because of this.
The Arizona Secretary of State, Adrian Fontes, has been vocal about the unprecedented level of threats and intimidation he's witnessed this election cycle. The FBI listed Arizona as one of the states with an unusual level of threats to election workers. The tension is fueled by tight races.
I heard a lot of people don't want to be involved in the election. Like, I mean, I wouldn't want to be involved either. Like the people that count the ballots and all that shit. I wouldn't want to be a part of that shit. But I mean, the people that normally are like involved don't want to be involved anymore.
Stop the steal sentiment and a feeling from both sides. The stakes are the highest they've ever been.
All of us, as we were growing up, we don't remember this being an issue.
Law enforcement is partnering at a state and local
Not
level.
true. Not true. You have to be a citizen in most of these countries to be able to buy homes there. They will not allow somebody that is not a citizen to, like, go ahead and try, even in Mexico. Go ahead and try to go to Mexico and see. I can't go to Canada and buy a home. I have to be a citizen. Or I have to be somebody that, you know, has got an actual proper documents and shit like that. But yeah. Crazy.
To not only protect people, but the ballots. The sheriff says they are not seeing a lot of threats. Those usually spike after the election, meaning they will have to continue to make assessments after races are called. The county says they also have a significant team monitoring social media on a daily and sometimes hourly basis.
We understand we are in an environment.
It is, though. It is different because, yeah, it's, you know, okay, this is where it gets very interesting. So you've got companies that are buying out personal homes. It is different, but it's not. You know what I mean? By bureaucracy and red tape, that bullshit is allowed. But people overseas, you know, they can't just buy a fucking house in America. You have to have the proper documentations. Just like if I were to go to Italy, same shit. Like I can't buy a home in Italy.
Now where we have both foreign actors and people within this country that are intentionally spreading misinformation about our election.
The Maricopa County Sheriff making the message clear to any bad actors.
We don't have any tolerance for any criminal activity. It's one thing for First Amendment, one thing to express your opinion. It's another when there's threatening or other violence that gets centered around this. And it's not going to happen here in Maricopa County.
Ashley Rodriguez, Fox 10 News.
Ashley, thank you for that report. Again, we'll be checking in with our different Fox affiliates as we get closer and closer to Election Day. And as you can imagine, we will have them live with us.
Yeah, if you have documentation like work visas and stuff like that, I believe that you can rent. And I don't know if you can own. The honest truth is I don't know that depth of it with like work visas and shit. But yeah, I do know that you can do that if you have proper documentation like that, you know, but like just saying that most people cannot just go somewhere and just buy a fucking house. You just can't. You know what I mean? That's all I was getting at.
And likely afterward, as we see more and more results.
Obviously, a politician can do anything he fucking wants.
Does start 6 p.m. Eastern
That's the
time
point.
on that night, November 5th. And as the results do come in, you'll be the first to know.
No way,
as we
Hook Dog.
bring those to you live, raw, and unfiltered. Also, do want to pop up this live image that we do have as we are waiting to hear from Secretary of State Antony Blinken. We know he has held quite a few events recently, but this one is going to be remarks on American diplomacy for a new era. And this is over.
Yeah, that would be a good question for Grid, because I got a buddy who who's a live streamer who also has a property hedge fund. You know what I mean? And has multiple properties around. You know, and I definitely should ask him when it comes to citizenship and also like proper documentation for people that on the outside coming in, right? That's definitely would be an interesting topic.
Foreign Service Institute
sure.
in Arlington, Virginia. Now, it was slated to start around 9 a.m. Eastern time, so about 30 minutes ago, but we all know these things don't really ever start on time.
Yep.
Once he does walk up to the podium, we'll bring you his comments in full right here on Live Now from Fox.
And right now, we're going to go ahead
a
and
quick 2-minute commercial break, but on the other side,
and local level to not only protect people,
violence that gets
workers.
Okay.
The tension is fueled by tight races. Stop the steal sentiment
Wait,
and a
did it go
feeling
back?
from both sides. The stakes are the
it
highest
did.
they've ever been.
Whoop, my bad, guys. On.
as he says that, quote, Iran is essentially naked.
So what he's referring to, as you alluded
After
to,
the Israeli strikes, Iran is essentially naked. So that's what the quote is.
in your opening statement, is that Iran has had a finite number of Russian-made high-end air defense systems. These are these S-300 systems. Iran has used those to protect
No kidding, Baba.
targets, most notably its nuclear facilities, but other key targets as well. And at least according to open reporting, most of them have been destroyed now. Now, these Hochstein's comments sort of mirror similar comments coming out of Israeli security officials.
That's what I was getting at, Straight Jacket, the red tape bureaucracy bullshit when it comes down to a company or personal ownership. It's totally different. And I couldn't tell you really why.
Saying that thanks to the actions that they took just a few days ago, Israel now has more of a military option vis-a-vis Iran going forward.
Never heard of that.
Campaign, the first step is always destroying the air defenses. Israel presumably has done that now.
And on that same note, the head there of the Israel Defense Force is saying that if Iran does make a, quote, mistake here and does decide to retaliate against Israel's retaliatory strikes, that Israel will hit places that were, quote, spared before. What areas are we talking about? Do you think?
So, Dean, I got a question. Dean in the chat. So last night that this happened, the airstrikes that were going on, did you hear any of the launches from Israel, or did you hear any of them landing? Because you're only 700 yards or meters or whatever from Gaza. Like, that's crazy. Like the border right there. So I'm sure that you probably heard some shit. Well, you heard it launching because it went into Lebanon, and then now we're talking about Gaza now. So I guess you would only hear the launches, right?
Discussing the nuclear and oil sites
if
that the
you
U.S.
could.
had asked Israel to avoid.
Yeah, it's above you. It's just only because
so
I was looking directly at this Gaza, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. It was Lebanon that got struck.
We'll have a number of sort of strategic options here. One is going after the oil sites and the nuclear sites that you mentioned. I mean, of those two, the oil sites are probably easier to strike. Most of them are above ground.
Yeah, no, I caught
They're
myself.
sort of an easy target from a military operation standpoint.
That's crazy. It's only a 4-hour drive. I thought it was actually way further than that. Like, I thought you're talking about Lebanon, right? So for you, you are 4 hours south of Lebanon. I thought for damn sure that was at least like maybe an 8 to 10 hour drive at bare minimum. That's what I thought. I mean, just looking at the map, kind of looks crazy, but 4 hours? That's fucking close, dude. Holy shit.
By contrast, the nuclear sites have long been a source of major strategic concern
Wow,
for the Israelis.
fucking crazy.
The concern is that if
mind-blowing,
Iran continues to fire ballistic missiles at Israel,
and I do know it's very small,
be equipped with a nuclear warhead. And the Israelis have historically been perfectly willing to denude adversarial countries of their nuclear reactor programs prior to them actually developing a nuclear weapon. The other, however, strategic option that Halevi, the Israeli defense chief, might be referring to, though, is actually going after the personnel themselves. You know, Israel conducted these attacks primarily at night in order primarily to spare the people working on both the missile defense systems, but also on the missile program themselves. Israel has, however, in the past have been willing to go after not only the equipment, but the personnel themselves. So Halevi may be referring to that as well.
I think you're almost better off. I mean, listen, I'm not a fucking war guy, right? I don't know to that level, but I would assume that if you take out their supplies, you take out their shit, like their ammunition or whatever the case is, I would think that would do better than to take out people, unless they're, let's say, head leaders of such organizations or something like that. But what do you guys think?
We heard from Iran's president saying that Hezbollah's new leader will, quote, strengthen the resistance against Israel. Do you believe that is a threat from Iran?
Well, I think it's intended to be a threat.
Yeah, and I used that reference before, but I didn't know it was exactly like I thought there was something in between. And like, I guess all of my geographical bullshit is messed up right now. I have to look at a map. So they're exactly north, because I thought there was something in between and I just couldn't remember. But hey, there we go.
Whether or not it can fulfill that threat, I think is the better question here. Hezbollah's new leader, named
What up, Calvin?
Is not the first choice.
He does sound like Elmer Fudd.
To the previous Hezbollah leader, Hassan Nasrallah.
Yes, let me pull up the map for you guys.
Killed in another Israeli strike, and the Israelis, particularly Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, reacted to the news of Naim Qasem's appointment to the new leadership of Hezbollah, saying that it is a temporary appointment and it won't last for long, which is a pretty implicit threat.
Okay, I've got it right here for you guys. All right, we're going to pause this for a second. We're going to stop this share. We'll go screen share to this side. I'm going to show you guys what the axis of resistance is, okay, guys? This is the axis of resistance. So we've got right here is Israel, okay? Israel's fucking right here. Okay, I guess I was thinking Syria. I guess I got Lebanon and Syria swapped. I guess that's what I did. Okay, so the Gaza Strip is down right, literally where this black, thing is. The Gaza is right here. And then just north is Lebanon. And then there is Syria, Iraq, Iran. and Yemen down south, down to the southeast of Israel. So this is what is known as the axis of resistance. This is where, basically they... Oh, wait, you guys can't even fucking see what I was showing. I hate this fucking computer program sometimes. Hold on. I'm sorry, guys. All right, because it went to another fucking page and it only shows one. All right, so what I was getting at here is we've got Gaza and Israel that's right here. And then you've got direct north is Lebanon, Syria, Iraq over to the east, and Iran. And then you've got Yemen down southeast from Israel. And so this is where the axis of resistance is, because there is a lot of obvious resistance right there. You know what I mean? So there's a little bit of Middle East geography for you guys. Sorry about that. All right, so let's go ahead and go over back into the show over here. See what they're going on.
Israel will try to kill him as well.
We also heard from Gallant as he says that it appears Hezbollah has lost about 80% of its rockets. Only 20% remain.
That's crazy, Papa.
I guess the question is Hezbollah being worn down significantly in this war? Because we've talked about how Hezbollah is overall...
Sometimes we get super smart up in this bitch, and then sometimes I can just, stupid. Just be on that stupid level, you dig?
Much stronger than Hamas, but are they being really worn down?
Well, they are being really worn down. I mean, 80% is a significant number, but just to sort of put those numbers in context, though, open source estimates for how many rockets Hezbollah went into this conflict with was somewhere on order of 150,000. That means even if they have only 20% of their arsenal left, they will still have 30,000 or so rockets remaining.
I need to clear my head, y'all.
That Hamas had
it's time for some left-handed tobacco.
Went into this conflict.
Clear my head.
And, given Hezbollah launch rates of on order of 150 rockets or so a day, that means the war could still drag on for considerably longer, unfortunately speaking. So, it's a significant military achievement, significant attrition of Hezbollah. Nonetheless, it's not necessarily clear that Hezbollah will give up the fight anytime soon.
We're hearing from officials that both Egypt and Qatar have essentially said to the U.S. that the killing of Yahya Sinwar, the leader there of Hamas, has made kind of the ceasefire and hostage release talks a little bit more difficult, because you're talking about the fact that, their leader has been killed by Israel. So are we any closer to an actual deal being made here than we were weeks ago, months ago?
Well, I think there's quiet. One nuanced answer than a simple yes or no, and let me try to unpack that for you. On the one hand, it's not clear that Sinwar's successors, particularly the sort of triumvirate of Hamas leaders sitting in Doha, Qatar, are any more inclined to make a deal than Sinwar was. In fact,
fucking dude.
Netanyahu was caught on an open mic.
His voice is just getting me right now.
A little while ago, saying that his successors are more Sinwar than Sinwar, in the sense that they've sort of doubled down on being conservative.
Hey, Howard, that's not a hard task.
And in addition to all of that, there's sort of a operational paradox here, which is that as Israel is more successful in breaking down Hamas's command and control inside Gaza, Hamas is physically less able to make a big grand deal simply because it no longer controls the organization and presumably the hostages in quite the same way that it once did. At the same time, there was also room for optimism here. I mean, with the Mossad chief,
oh yeah, I know it's biblical. I know this is what we call the holy wars. You know what I mean? Absolutely.
For the first time in several months to begin trying to negotiate a deal. So at least the sides are talking.
Oh shit, redneck, that's dope,
a long
man.
way from actually signing a deal, but
that's
at
dope.
least that line of communication has now been reopened.
Thank you, redneck.
Post-Sinwar's death.
All right, Raphael Cohen with Rand Project Air Force.
He's got to be there's got to be a combo. I think he's done speaking now, but
thank you so much for taking the time, as always, to join us and break down the latest developments there out of the Middle East. Anything else you want to add about any of this before I let you go?
No, it's as always a pleasure talking to you, Josh.
Okay, so they were waiting for homeboy to come out.
And of course, as I
and we're about to do it right now.
He did run up to the podium, so that might be him, but it is not. They're giving us a 2-minute warning to let us know that he will be speaking soon. So again, we are going to head to that news conference, and we'll dip out of it once we see Blinken walk up.
So on Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024, we took a police report from one of the candidates running for mayor in the city of Titusville, and the police report was
insane
for
that they
theft of
don't.
Signs. Unfortunately,
I mean, we see what happens when we have vacuums within anywhere that we pull out, or any of this bullshit of vacuums. It's very odd that, you know, people don't discuss that more. Honestly, you're right. You know, because it is a humongous problem.
This time of year,
every single time.
Cycle, it's very common to receive complaints from all kinds of candidates and their campaigns on ethical behavior in between. It just is the nature of the business. By and large, we don't get involved. Most of these complaints are handled through the Florida Division of Elections up in Tallahassee, and that's usually who we will forward that to. Any criminal violations, we take a...
By the way, real quick, if you guys would like to help out the show monetarily, we have this scrolling down below. Everything is red, of course, shouted out. Super chats and your guys' channel memberships are, of course, all shouted out, but we have these down below. If you guys don't want to have that brutal 30% cut that YouTube takes, listen, both are obviously just as welcome. So I very much appreciate anything. Let's get it.
Just like we would on any other
Make sure to follow me on my on my Instagram as well, Ballvalve TV, man.
Wait until we could get you know, some type of leads on the case. In most cases,
I guess there's some case that's going on
overnight when
Florida,
there's nobody around and there's
no
leads on it. It's
mayoral?
very difficult.
I don't know what that word is. Hold on. What is that? Mayoral? Mayoral candidate charged with stealing signs. I'm not really too sure.
In this case, roughly around 6-7 hours after we took that report, and a citizen came
here it is
with a photograph.
Okay, boom.
Welcome
I thought it was only going to be a second.
Fox 951.
I thought that was just going to be a little like, hey, we're going to hear this out for real quick and they'll switch back over. But no, they did a whole coverage on
the East Coast and 651 on the West Coast. Do want to take you out to this live image that we do have here.
Here we go.
We are expecting Vice President Kamala Harris to board onto Air Force 2 here. She is going to be heading over
nice call to action right there, Hardwire. I very much appreciate that, kind sir.
Today, where she will be speaking at 12:10.
It very much is.
Eastern time. She will be in Raleigh, North Carolina. We also know that at 1 p.m. Eastern time, Trump will be speaking over in Rocky Mount, North Carolina.
Hell yeah.
A lot of events
I'm down
today,
for that.
So we'll make sure to bring those to you in full as they do get underway. In the meantime, you can see now it does look like we have Antony Blinken walking up to the podium. So let's pop up the audio and listen in.
Okay, I honestly don't know who is it Antony or Anthony Blinken? I don't know who he is.
Look out at so many people here, so many people have come back to the department, so many people working today to strengthen the department. It's also cause for reflection that the best part of my 32 years has been the people I've had the immense privilege to work with. And I see so many of them here today, and I'm grateful to each and every one of you. So I started the department more than 32 years ago. First job in Washington, coming here at the beginning of the Clinton administration. I was a special assistant in what was then the Bureau of
Oh, now he's explaining it. Who he is. What's up, Todd? I see you up in here.
European and Canadian Affairs, for those with long memories. I was in the front office, and I had my own office. Its previous occupant had been a very large safe. I found on the desk that barely fit into that office, some of you will remember this, those very large Wang computers. And that was the beginning of an experience that led me to where I am today. And as I like to say, over the course of 32 years, I moved up one flight from the 6th floor to the 7th floor and got some windows. So not bad.
Wow.
But it was the start of a deep attachment to this institution and to its people. And a conviction.
U.S. Secretary of State right now. That's who he is. All right. I was waiting for this little thing to pop up. So Blinken speaks on quote unquote American diplomacy and Middle East. So Antony, so not Anthony, Antony Blinken, U.S. Secretary of State.
For a brief period of time, with responsibility for leading this institution owe it to the institution and owe it to
Yes,
the
sir.
institution's people
Just figured that out.
Try to lead it a little bit stronger, a little bit more effective, a little bit more fit for purpose than when we found it. And that's what we've been working to do. During my time as secretary,
there's just too many damn people to keep up with in our damn government. You know what I mean? It's hard. You think you know a lot of people, but then you got some asshat like this that comes walking out and like, fuck, I've never seen you before.
We've traveled 1,000,000 miles. I've met with leaders and citizens in some 86 countries and more than a dozen cities and towns across the United States. We've seen remarkable things during that time, but everywhere I've gone, my conversations have focused on issues that are increasingly shaping the lives of the people that we're here to serve. Protecting workers.
Yes, they
and
sure
businesses
fucking
from unfair
do.
trade practices that hurt their bottom lines, threaten their jobs, threaten their livelihoods. Securing supply chains for critical items like semiconductors.
Oh man, I very much appreciate that. I've got it scrolling down on the bottom right here. I've got Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal, and then the tags are right there, man. I very much appreciate it, man.
Medicines that our people and our economy depend on. Safeguarding digital infrastructure to make sure that our privacy is protected, our data is secure, our hospitals and electric grids are safe. Using emerging technologies like AI, using them for good, while working to prevent their misuse. Producing clean, affordable energy that people can count on to power their homes, businesses, while keeping this planet habitable for our children.
Why does this guy speak like this?
Preventing another pandemic.
He's trying too
Stopping
hard.
the flow of synthetic drugs into
You can tell he's definitely trying too damn hard to speak like that.
our communities. Contending with historic migration across our hemisphere and around the globe. At the same time, we face a small number of revisionist powers, principally Russia, with the partnership of Iran and North Korea, as well as China, that are aggressively challenging our interests and values and are determined to alter the foundational principles at the heart of the international system. China alone has acquired the economic, the diplomatic, the technological, and military power to do so on a regional and a global scale.
No wonder, Barbie.
As geopolitical competition is underway to shape a new era in international affairs, longstanding challenges remain.
It's probably one of the most annoying things in the world when any politician tries to relate to you, and we already know that you cannot relate. I hate that shit. That shit is so whack. Dude, trust me, if you're running for president, you're not a normal person. You also have the capabilities to raise $100 million over fucking night. You know what I mean? I don't have that kind of capability, and I don't think any of you guys do. But hey, we're supposed to be able to relate to these people, you know? Right.
Terrorism.
Stop the cap.
Political instability. We see this around the world, from the Middle East to Sudan to Venezuela.
Appreciate you, Steve.
So the world we face is more competitive, it's more complex, it's more combustible.
That's so crazy to think about.
Other point in my career. Now, to address these challenges from a position of strength, we've made historic investments here at home in our competitiveness, and we've worked to re-engage, to rejuvenate, to reimagine our alliances and our partnerships around the world, across the State Department and the globe. My colleagues and I are hearing the same thing. The United States remains the partner of first choice, not just our federal government, local government, private sector, universities, technologists, philanthropies. People continue to look to the United States. Now, it's also profoundly in our interest to team up with our counterparts abroad, because we can accomplish so much more together than any one of us can do alone.
So we knew that so is he out here speaking about this right now because it would be a bad place for, Biden to come out and talk about this shit right now? Or Kamala Harris, because she's VP? Oh, would that go against your little campaign there? Would that go against your campaign? That's crazy.
And we know that the strength, the success of our friends redounds directly to our own security and prosperity, more markets for our products, more partners to tackle global challenges, new allies to deter and defeat aggression. That's at the heart of something that used to animate our approach to the world, enlightened self-interest. And I believe it needs to be at the heart of how we approach the world now.
So he does usually do these speeches? All right. I'll give him that then.
To meet this moment,
I just haven't been watching him
our
in particular.
And this department have to be fit for purpose, organized, resourced.
That's Fox's end, not my end. It'll clear up. Come on, Fox. Get it
What's the
together.
plan to strengthen and revitalize American diplomacy for this new age in international affairs.
Get it together, Fox. His smacking is annoying, bro. What is happening,
All right,
Fox?
it appears that feed is coming in a bit frozen and the audio distorted. We're hoping that Fox is going to be able to get that taken care of here. But what you are watching
Yo,
is
good morning,
Secretary of State
Dwayne.
Antony
Appreciate you, brother,
Blinken,
as always.
he is speaking on American diplomacy, also expected to touch there on the situation
Oh
in
shit,
the
we
Middle
got
East. But this
Carney
is
up in the building with the Cash App over here. Man, hold on. Carney sent over a Cash App. He sent $3 for happy birthday for Hardwire, man. Look at that, man. We got Hardwire's birthday coming on through. I appreciate you,
We're
man.
at the Foreign Service Institute in Arlington, Virginia. It looks like they did get the feedback, so let's pop up the audio.
You've heard from Deputy Secretary Verma. We wanted to build on past efforts, past initiatives, not reinvent the wheel. Look at the incredible work that had been done by some of my predecessors, Democratic and Republican alike, to work to strengthen the department. And as you heard, we've drawn on the visions.
Yeah, Rogan's interview got taken down and then brought back on. Like, it literally got taken down. I don't know if you guys know that, but then it came back up. Like, this was yesterday. It happened real quick. And it's been supposedly stuck at 36 million or whatever since they took it down originally. And then now they have it shadow banned where you search it up. You can't even fucking, you know what I mean? Unfortunate.
The voices, the expertise, the experience of so many people across the department.
No, we can tell that,
Allies
Todd,
and partners on
for
Capitol
sure.
Hill, and I'm gratified to see Representative Barbara Lee here with us today, great champion of the department. So many others. We were animated by the knowledge that we couldn't finish this work overnight.
My man.
Or even in a single term or administration. If it's going to endure, this agenda had to be rooted in our national interest and in the initiatives that any Secretary of State, regardless of party, would be expected to carry forward on behalf of the American people.
Oh, I know now why you guys are asking about
I'm proud of the progress that we've made over the past few years. Now, I want to talk about that today, and I also want to talk about some of the work that's left to be done. But let me start with this. None of the modernization work would have been possible without strong bipartisan support from Congress.
There we go.
Including
I never
Representative
posted this in the chat. That's
It's taken
why.
exceptional efforts from people at every post, in every bureau of this department, members of
Oh,
our civil service, and our
Lawrence up
foreign
the
service,
building? Hold
eligible
on.
family members,
Man, what the fuck
contractors,
is
local
going on here? Man, we got to do everything to a halt real quick. Hey, much love and respect to everybody. We got brother Glenn Lawrence up in the building and family. Very much appreciate you, kind sir. Hopefully you're having a wonderful, wonderful morning, evening, afternoon. Everybody, you know, wherever the hell you guys are from. Much love, honor, respect to everybody. Make sure to hit that like button, man. #1 metric of all of YouTube. Appreciate you guys, man. We've gone over quite a bit over here. Just by the way, we have 60 that were killed in an Israeli airstrike in Lebanon. We just reported on that. And then it's been kind of going down like this crazy, you know, campaign trail and following along. And now we've got the U.S. Secretary of State talking about American diplomacy, quote unquote, and the Middle East. Of course, now his from what I've been told by you guys in the chat, man, that this guy's his opinions and his ideology within the Middle East is apparently completely shit. So let's go ahead and listen to complete garbage right now, everybody. You know what I mean? That's what we're doing.
Emotional damage.
Yeah, we're gonna get all of it.
staff, and of course, our senior leadership team, Deputy Secretary Campbell, Deputy Secretary Verma, his predecessor, Brian McKeon. John Bass, now the acting Undersecretary for Political Affairs. Elena Teplitz has taken on the duties of Undersecretary for Management.
Appreciate you,
Our
Hardwire.
Director General of the Foreign Service.
That means a lot,
Director,
man.
of
Thank
Global
you.
Talent, Marsha Burning.
Sincerely.
The Director of the Foreign Service Institute, Joan Polacek.
Now you have to use $, like when you like say like you're gonna send money to somebody, you have to type in $ ball valve. You know what I mean? There is no link. I mean, I could give you a link. I could drop a link, I guess. But it's just like you normally type it in. But I got you.
By Salman Ahmed and so many others. As I look out at all of you, at our remarkable Chief of Staff, Susie George, and so many others, it's like I'm looking at the 2024 Los Angeles Dodgers, which, as a Yankee fan, is not the best sight.
Let me see if this works.
So let me talk a little bit about what we've accomplished so far, and again, what remains to be done.
There we go. That worked.
We've reorganized the department and invested in our ability to lead on the issues that are increasingly animating our diplomacy. We established the Bureau of Cybersecurity and Digital Policy and the Office of the Special Envoy for Critical and Emerging Technology. We brought in...
Hey, Brother Lee already knows the deal, right?
Stop the cap.
Sheesh.
Incredible talent in these areas to ensure that the United States and our partners retain our collective edge in the technologies that are shaping our future. Across our diplomacy, we've prioritized leading on norms and standards, promoting digital freedom, protecting our most sensitive technology, making critical...
This guy's doing some woman prattle right here. He's just blabbling about what? You know, he's got to give this whole like 20-minute ordeal just to talk about the things that you need to talk about that could literally take 4 or 5 minutes.
Supply chains more resilient.
Liberal prattle.
We're committed to building what we call digital solidarity.
That's right. Hit the like button, man.
Because we have a profound stake in working with and supporting partners that share our vision for a vibrant, open, and secure technological future. We've dedicated more resources to combating the climate crisis, powering the clean energy transition, protecting the environment across our department through
this fucking
Special
dude.
Presidential Envoy for Climate, and I have to...
This fucking dude.
Stupid. Again, thank, with deep appreciation.
No fucking kidding.
Secretary Kerry,
Raging Patriot. That's
taking
hilarious.
on this work, and with the creation of a new dedicated Foreign Service officer positions across the department. In the wake of COVID, President Biden made it clear that we needed to prioritize health diplomacy, drawing on the decades of experience that this department has and USAID had with SARS, with Ebola, with HIV/AIDS. So we created a Bureau of Global Health Security and Diplomacy. By acting as a central hub for all of our public health efforts, this team works with our partners abroad to strengthen health systems.
Yes,
to fight
Beezer.
deadly diseases, to prevent
That's a
future
problem.
pandemics. The challenges posed by People's Republic of China touch every aspect of our foreign policy and every region of the world. So we built what we call China House, an office that brings together experts from across the department.
Remember, everything within politicians, it's a popularity game, and also who can raise the most money. That's all it is. That's all they will ever care about. And as long as you go abide by the elites, what their motive is, as long as you abide by that, you're good. You're in, and you're making killer bread too. You're working for us, but you're fucking banking it, right? Having the most lavish shit in the world, including, your homes, multiple houses. Like, get the fuck out of here. You make $110,000 a year, yet you just bought a $10 million mansion. Like, how the fuck does that work, right?
And other
I've never had math work out that way for me.
Where they can better coordinate and better manage this most complex and consequential relationship. We invested in our economic statecraft, focusing more on improving development finance, strengthening supply chains, elevating our Office of Sanctions Coordination, establishing a coordinator on global anti-corruption, appointing a special representative for international labor affairs, setting up a task force to help countries become more resilient to economic coercion.
Fuck all that. Talk about what's going on in the Middle East and move on.
We stood up an office to advance our interests and values in an increasingly contested and crucial set of international organizations. That team is getting Americans elected to senior leadership positions while building coalitions to drive reform and to safeguard the integrity of institutions like the United Nations. And In a world where foreign and domestic policy are increasingly intertwined, we set up a subnational diplomacy unit.
You know what, bro?
To build collaboration.
This guy is so much cap. This guy is so much cap. It's so much cap that I need to go ahead and have some left-handed tobacco. You know what I mean? There's no way that I'm going to be able to survive this. You guys must need some of this too. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is crazy. This shit is crazy.
Collaboration with and between mayors, governors, locally elected officials, both here at home and around the world. And I've seen the power of this. These leaders, they're the ones, day in, day out, particularly at the local level, who are finding cutting-edge solutions for what are global challenges, from ransomware to public health crises. And it's critical that they have the opportunities to share their ideas with other local officials and with national governments so that we can all learn from each other and make our own policies better.
Bruh.
Now, with all of this focus on reorganization and making sure that the institutional building blocks of the department were fit for purpose, we also knew that to truly modernize our diplomacy, we had to embrace
this fucking dude.
New tools and some new tactics to become more innovative, more nimble, more effective. So we transformed the way that we assess, accept, and deal with risk in an increasingly volatile world. And you heard this from Rich Verma.
Get to the point, homeboy.
Now, we can't and we shouldn't set out to try to eliminate risk entirely. That's an unrealistic standard. But what we are doing is working to manage risk responsibly, making it easier for diplomats to work in person, in the field, with fewer security constraints, and better realizing the full potential of our presence and our people.
Do I need to seriously skip ahead? Like, how long until you fucking get to the point?
Our diplomacy more resilient, it's patriotic.
It's all the fucking same.
And I will always protect it.
All right, enough cap. We're going to go into Kamala Harris.
The open forum, which hosts conversation experience for our workforce.
This fucking
Let
guy.
us deepen our cooperation with and influence in these institutions.
I can't listen to
Our
this.
first cohort
I tried.
will start their jobs next summer.
I tried.
We also needed to.
All right, so you are listening to Secretary of State Blinken, but as you can see,
I
Kamala
can't
Harris
do this.
did walk up there, so I do want to pop up the audio on that.
A real choice and a very important decision to make in 6 days. And it is about who will.
Fox, you do have a condenser microphone. You know, go ahead and fix those audio levels.
Not only lead the country, but occupy the White House where critical decisions are made that include how we think about who we are as a nation and whether we are going to be a nation of people who attempt to unify and break through this era of divisiveness, or are we going to be a nation of people who has the president stewing in the Oval Office over his enemies list? And I think that
Yes, I did see that, by the way. I did see that clip where Biden called all of the Trump supporters garbage. I did see that.
And the kind of feedback that we are receiving.
Didn't he do that shit like on CNN?
That the American
Like,
people
what the fuck?
actually want a leader.
Let me pop that one up.
And that's the type of leader I intend to be.
Have you talked to President Biden since his comment last night about garbage?
Listen, I think that, first of all, he clarified his comments, but
no.
Let me be clear. I strongly disagree with any criticism of people based on who they vote for.
Good. I'm glad that you actually said that.
Continuously throughout my.
That was actually a very smart political play right there. She just totally threw Biden right under the bus right there, bro. That was rad. Fuck yeah. You know what I mean? Like, hey, it is what it is, right? Let's go ahead and show you guys what we are talking about over here. This is a 55-second clip. Why can't we hear it?
Donald Trump has no character. He doesn't give a damn about the Latino community.
So this is CBS.
He's failed businessman. He only cares about the billionaire friends he has and accumulating wealth for those at the top. You know, he says immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country. Give me a break. He wants to do away with the birthright citizenship. Who the hell has said that in the last 100 years? And just the other day, a speaker at his rally called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. Well, let me tell you something. I don't know the Puerto Rican, the that I know, or Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His
supporters? How about you just say him?
His demonization of seen as unconscionable, and it's un-American. It's totally contrary to everything we've done, everything we've been.
So you just called 50% of the country garbage, bro. Stupid ass. Stupid. That was as dumb as it gets. As a politician, like, he knows better than that shit, you know, but maybe he just doesn't give a fuck anymore, obviously. He's on his way out, you know? And Kamala Harris is on her way in, you know? So she ain't gonna, like, she knows that was a bad take from Biden. That was a bad take. So she's like, I can't back that up.
I believe that the work that I do is about.
Good to see you, Penguin Posse. Good to see you, man.
Whether they support me or not. And as president of the United States, I will be a president for all Americans, whether you vote for me or not. That is my responsibility, and that's the kind of work that I've done.
Good to see you, GEG. We got GEG up in here.
Have you spoken to him about his comments and his he did call me last night, but this didn't come up.
Are you concerned about what impact this may have on voters, on the divisiveness of the election, and whether or not it's going to dissuade some people from supporting you because of your affiliation with the president of this administration?
I've been very clear with the American public. I respect.
What's up, Nicole?
The challenges that people face. I respect the fact that we all have so much more in common than what separates us, and that most people want a president that understands that gets that, and approaches their role of leadership that way. I've been very clear from my earliest years as a prosecutor. I never asked anyone, are they a Democrat or Republican? The only thing I ask folks is, are you okay? And that's the kind of president I will be.
And what did you talk about with the president?
Madam Vice President, on a separate subject, last night you mentioned removing people in the country who are here illegally. What do you mean? That's an immigration statement, obviously. Were you referring to
Oh, shit.
people who have come here before illegally, or
Yeah.
on what you meant
She's
by that
respecting
comment?
us by not calling us garbage, but, you know, she respects us when she's calling us Nazis, right? You know, that totally, you know.
Stop the cap.
Yep, the hypocrisy is unreal. Absolutely weird.
What I
Good,
intend to do on the
good
issue of
call out.
immigration, as I said last night and have said continuously, is we need to fix our broken immigration system in a number of ways. We need to strengthen the border and put more resources at the border, which is why I support the bipartisan bill that Donald Trump killed that would have otherwise put
Max.
1,500 more
Max,
border
Todd.
agents at the border, put more resources into prosecuting transnational crime, and would very importantly put more resources
You
into
may
stemming
see
the
that,
flow of
Raging
fentanyl,
Patriot.
which is killing people around the country. And when I am elected president, I will bring that bill back and
Stop
I
the
will
cap.
sign it into law.
Stop the cap.
I also have done the work and in my policy going forward will strengthen what we need to do to deal with, for example, illegal entries between ports of entry. That is something that we need to tighten up. I will do the work also about ensuring that we
Why all of a sudden right this second? Well, you were the border czar a fuck ton ago. I mean, years ago. Why haven't you done shit? Why all of a sudden? Oh, now because an election's on the line. Yeah, let me talk good.
pass comprehensive
Fucking all
immigration
caps.
reform in a
This
way
woman.
that we allow hardworking people who have earned citizenship a path to actually be able
Hey, good to see you, Dragon
gain
Classy.
citizenship because
Good
they
morning,
have
good morning.
earned it, and that includes everyone from our farm workers to dreamers.
And just to follow up on the, do you sympathise if any voters do feel
Once
offended?
again?
Do you sympathise with any voters who do feel offended by or insulted by the garbage comment?
I am running for president of the
So
United
back to the garbage. She's getting pressed on this garbage thing. She already had to answer that once. Now another news reporter came in and was like, "So about the garbage comment."
States. I will be traveling to 3 states today to do what I have been doing throughout, which is talking with the American people about the fact that, first of all, I get it in terms of the concerns they have about challenges like the price of groceries. Second, my highest priority is to address that and to lift them up around their ambitions, their aspirations, and their dreams, which is why I have a very specific and detailed plan about strengthening our economy. Leading economists have reviewed my plan.
Theoretically, she could do something today. Theoretically, she could do something right this second. Yeah, she could. This second, she could, let's just for an example, she could tighten up all the asylum laws right now. She could do that because it's actually not the border problem. It's actually an asylum problem. And it's our laws that allow this shit. You know what I mean? Just because you come from a very fucking poor country does not mean that your life is in danger and that you need to seek asylum here in the United States. That's what needs to be fucking recognized. But yet, she could do that right this second. I'm going to fix up what's going on at the border. Lady.
Stop the cap.
Fucking stupid.
Stupid.
Indicated it will strengthen the economy and that Donald Trump's plan will weaken the economy. So I'm going to be spending full time, as I've been, talking with the American people, whoever they voted for last time. And as I have said and will repeat over and over again, I am sincere in what I mean. When elected president of the United States...
Yes, sir. I've got 3 levels, Raging Patriot. I actually kept the very first level as cheap. I think it's as cheap as it can possibly go. It's at $2.99 a month. And I did that on purpose because I'd rather you guys enjoy this shit and be together rather than like sit here and be like greedy and shit. Now, if you guys want, there is another couple of levels. There's I believe a $9.99 level, or if, I can't remember if it's $5.99 or something like that. And then it goes up to $24.99 a month on the 3rd tier for officer. But yeah, man, I appreciate the question.
All Americans, including those who don't vote for me, and address their needs and their desires.
Oh, she waved him off. She said, nah, bitch.
Address their needs and their desires.
Bye, bitch. I'm talking. I'm talking. I got coughed up.
All right,
I'm
there you have
talking
it.
now.
Vice President Kamala Harris
And this
addressing
fucking
members of the
woman.
media, answering questions, a lot of those about the comments that were made by Biden, where he did
Yeah,
say...
she was getting fucking pressed pretty damn good right there. I actually like that happened. I like that she got pressed twice on that shit. I do like how she answered the first time. You knew that was going to happen, where she was going to have to answer this shit. But we got Beezer up in the building. Let's fucking go, man. Beezer gifting out a membership to all of you guys, man. I very much appreciate you. It didn't show who the fuck it went to, though. I hate that shit. I don't know what is going on with YouTube recently. Like the last couple of days, it's been very weird. I don't know if it's because of the topics I'm talking about or what the hell's going on, man. Yeah, the only way that you can do that is have a mod drop the link. Hold on. Let me make you a mod so that you can drop the link, because you can't drop a link without being a mod. So there you go. Hold on. Boom. Now you can go ahead and throw it down. Go ahead.
Trump supporters there.
I appreciate you, Beezer. Thank you.
So
for the
she
patronage.
did address that. She was asked several questions as she is heading right now over to North Carolina. We'll have some of her events.
Nitro up in the
and
building, my
others
man.
later
Appreciate
on
you.
today. But I do want to head to a quick 2-minute commercial break at 10:17.
I thought you said that there's no commercial breaks on this bitch. Oh no, hell no. I'm not listening to this dude again. I'm not continuing on with this fucking ass clown. Let's go ahead and see if there's anything else in the media that are going on. Who's speaking over here? All right, let's tune into what the hell this is.
Florida, that is where we are headed next.
Florida.
As it looks like Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is joined by a lot of other state officials right now. Not sure just yet on the exact topic here, but let's pop up the audio and listen in, as it looks like he is seated alongside others.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's great to be here. It's great to be back in Temple Terrace. I'm really excited to be joined by the Sheriff of Pasco County, my friend Chris Nacco. Also have the President and CEO of the Florida Chamber.
Hey,
Mark
Hook Dog
Wilson.
you got the membership, Hook Dog. Look at that shit right there. Boom. Let's fucking go. He's been trying to get one for a minute.
Oh, shit. We have Andrea Williams, 5th generation owner of Columbia Restaurant Group. I think many of you have been there. They're really good stuff they do. And then our Secretary, Department of Children and Families, Siobhan Harris. So we're going to have a roundtable today to discuss one of the constitutional amendments that's going to be on the ballot. And, every election we have these things, voters will always come up to me and very
Let's see.
attuned people. Like,
Gotta say,
how
man.
do you make sense of these amendments? Because it's a shell game where they really want it to be as deceptive as possible to get as many people to default to vote for it. So the first thing I'd say is when you're amending the Constitution, that's different than doing a normal policy that you can
No
have
fucking way. What happened? See, I don't even know what's going on with CRS firearms. What he got popped because of his content towards the alphabets. Made them look at him and they found the auto key cards and locked him up. Dude, that's fucking crazy. That sucks.
Your city commission can do something. County government can do. The state legislature can pass a law that can go into
That's
effect.
right, Steve.
But you know what? That can be changed. So if you do something and you figure out, hey, it needs to be tweaked, you can tweak it. When it's in the Constitution, that trumps any ability of the people of Florida to change through their electoral process. And so it removes issues from you, the people of Florida, to be able to decide at the ballot box through electing people to represent you, whether it's in the legislature or local government. So this is playing for.
Who else just got locked up this morning? Funny enough, do you guys know that stupid rapper 6ix9ine? That guy with the face tattoos and all that shit? He got thrown into prison today, and he's at the same exact prison as Diddy right now, which is funny as fuck, dude.
Keeps once it's in the Constitution, it can't be changed, but in the ordinary political process. So you can elect a wave of people to the state legislature. They will not be able to change whether it's Amendment 3 or Amendment 4. That's it. And so the frame of mind on this needs to be your default position.
He's in prison right now with Diddy as we speak.
Be you're voting no on amendments. The people that are proposing amendments have the burden to prove to you,
he's been in and
beyond a
out.
very high standard of doubt, why this is something that should be put into Florida's Constitution, why this issue should be taken away from the people effectively forever. And if you're going, because some people say, well, I see this commercial, I see this commercial, I see this. What am I to do? If that's your position, you vote no. If you don't have a firm
What do I
idea
do? Yeah, if you don't vote no. What the fuck?
Of what this will do, if you're not absolutely convinced this is going to be good
No kidding,
for the
Mark.
state of
Good
Florida,
to see you, man.
then the default is no. You should never vote for one of these things if you're not sure about what's going to happen. I think it's very important.
Actually, listen, I'm not going to tell someone how to vote, but that is pretty damn, listen, that is as accurate as it gets. You vote no, essentially, unless you vote yes on something that you feel like, all right, I know I've got this. If you don't even know, it's an automatic no. You don't go to an automatic yes. But hey, listen, everyone's got their own fucking ways, I guess, in this country. And it's evident. It's evident. But look at who the fuck's been in office.
And the people go into this eyes wide open. And if you're going to vote for whether it's 3 or these others, you got to know what is actually in the amendment. And look, I'm going to go through this.
Papa.
I don't think.
Yes, Papa. He's the guy that, multi-millionaire dude, whatever, likes to show his money in Ferraris or Lamborghinis or whatever. He loves to do shit like that. And he also snitched. And so he's now in there with Diddy.
I think there's a lot of people that can justify some of the things that are in here. And there's reasons why there's some egregious provisions in it. But if you honestly like some of the stuff in here and you go into it eyes wide open, well, look, it's a free country. Do what you want. But do not be unsure. Vote yes, and then come back a year later and say, oh, I didn't know it was going to do that. I didn't know. No. Your default is no. If they can't prove to you that this should be in the Constitution, then you just move on with the no vote. And so questions also.
That's a pretty ballsy and base thing for him to say to the American public. I'm not going to lie. Not going to lie. That was dope.
How did this amendment get on your ballot? It didn't just grow on a tree somewhere. It wasn't just dropped down like manna from heaven. This amendment was written and put on the ballot, and it's attempting to be passed because of one mega marijuana company. So the text of the amendment and the ballot summary was written by the CEO of the company. The company is traded on the Canadian Stock Exchange, so it's a publicly traded corporation. They have now pumped into this effort to amend your Constitution $141 million. Never been done before by a single company for a ballot measure, not only in Florida history, but of all of American history. So the question you got to ask yourself when you know that is, okay, a publicly traded company has a fiduciary duty not to do what's best for the state of Florida, not to do what's best for you as individuals.
He's actually right about that. Yep. You're supposed to make money for your business and for the shareholders.
Individual Floridians, their fiduciary duty, and rightfully so, is to maximize profits and maximize shareholder value. So the only way they could justify spending $141 million to try to enact a constitutional amendment that they have drafted is if this will guarantee that they generate major profits for their shareholders. So that's the point of the amendment. The point of the amendment is not to do what's best for you. It's not what's best for Florida. If they did that, they would be violating their fiduciary duty to their shareholders.
Correct.
So that's why this got on the ballot. And keep in mind, the ballot summary that you'll see on your ballot, that is not the text of the amendment that will actually be added to the Florida Constitution. They don't provide that for you. You got to go online and you got to get it. And the reality is the ballot summary was also written by the weed CEO. It's poll tested. It's
the weed CEO. I like that.
Designed to be as innocuous as possible. And it does not fully inform you about what you would actually be adding to the Constitution.
Oh, no. Look what's coming up. Soon VP Harris rallies in Raleigh, North Carolina. That's going to be fucking interesting. I'm not going to cover that one today. I've actually got a haircut appointment to go to after this.
Now,
hell yeah.
This is being packaged as you need safe and regulated marijuana market, and that people shouldn't be in jail for using
Jay,
marijuana.
good to see you, my man.
We have safe and regulated and legal marijuana under our medical program in Florida, and there's almost 1 million Floridians that have these marijuana cards. I can guarantee you all those people do not have debilitating illnesses. I mean, let's just be honest here. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he is right about that shit. He is right.
I mean, are you honestly going to ask? I mean, to just try to sit here
Me
and
too,
say
Carney.
This is hard to get as it is? There's marijuana stores everywhere, throughout hundreds of these stores throughout the state of Florida. So the idea that you don't have any legal marijuana in Florida is just not true. Now, the way it's constructed, I think is good, that you don't have the right to smoke it everywhere and turn Florida city.
Yeah, it's something that they constantly, conservatives are very, I don't know why. And that's why I've always said that this is probably my one liberal policy that I support is, believe it or not, I do support the left-handed tobacco. You know what I mean? I personally don't see anything fucking wrong with it. But hey, everyone's got their fucking opinions about this shit. But as coming from a conservative, okay, this is probably my only liberal policy that I actually have. You know, yes, I've said it. I've said it now. You know, hey, here's what it is.
Denver or Manhattan or San Francisco. I mean, I think that's really good that we have it that way. But the reality is that it is already legal under that program in Florida. Almost 1 million Floridians have taken advantage of that. Now, whether you had medical or not, obviously people use it outside of that. I understand that. So the question is if someone's not doesn't have a medical card, they're using it. How is it
I
fair,
agree, Nitro.
Why is it good policy that someone should end up in jail just for...
I hate when these politicians that have like never fucking smoked, you know what I mean? Because their entire life they were told that the shit was like the devil. You know what I mean? And then you got guys like me that are like, dude, what are you talking about? There's like zero of the effects that you're fucking talking about. Like all this shit that you just made that shit up. That's propaganda, motherfucker. You know, like name me somebody that's died from marijuana. You know what I mean? Compared to, oh, you've got hundreds of thousands that die a year from alcoholism. Like, come on, man. Like, let's get it together. Let's actually kind of have some common sense in this shit.
For smoking.
Like, give me an actual fucking valid reason as to why 420 should be banned. What? You know what I mean? Like, give me an actual reason.
Marijuana. I tell you, it's not good policy, and it's not happening in the state of Florida. So I ask, because I'm hearing this argument, how many people, I asked our head of the Secretary of the Department of Corrections, how many people are incarcerated in any Florida facility for use or possession, simple possession of marijuana? You know the answer that they gave to me? 0. Not a single person is in jail for this. So this is not a reason to want to enact a corporate scheme into the Constitution. And so the main arguments they're putting are just bogus. Now, some people will say to me, well, you know, free state of Florida, we were open when the states were closed in COVID. We got this, school choice, all this stuff. You know, it's the freedom state. Isn't this about this Amendment 3?
Pablo, for YouTube reasons, I'm just going to do this. Yup. Welcome to the left-handed tobacco crew.
About freedom? No, not at all. And obviously, it's written by a company, 140 million. They're not concerned with freedom. They're concerned with their profits. So
cheers, everybody.
It is true on this that if you read the text, you will have a right to possess and smoke up to 3 ounces of marijuana, which is about 100 joints. That's a lot more than California, a lot more than Colorado.
3 ounces is actually a fucking lot compared to what, you know, they always say an ounce or an under, you know, that's what is.
And so it's true. Typical. You have the right to possess and smoke, but only if you buy it from them. They do not give you the right to grow.
Now that shit is lame. They don't give you the right to grow
your own marijuana in this amendment.
So in California, it makes it all legal, including plants that you can grow. You can only buy from them in this particular amendment, which is what he's getting at, which I can respect that part. You know what I mean?
They could have done that. They didn't. They say, oh, it would violate a single subject. They have cultivate
I agree
for
with
them
that,
in
Steve.
the amendment. Why didn't they put cultivate for you? Because they would make less money if they put cultivate for you. So it's not about freedom to do what you want with your own property and use in the comfort of your own home. It's about forcing a commercial relationship with them and these other select marijuana companies because they create a cartel of the people that will basically have the market captive. So it's not, if you're a marijuana enthusiast, just understand this does not give you the right to grow your own, only if you buy it from them. Now, it's also not about freedom in another respect, because you as a Floridian should have the freedom to live your life without marijuana impinging on you. And that means you should be able to go to restaurants, walk down the street, parks, beaches, without having people.
No, that's not true.
Using marijuana every.
Yeah, that's right there. That's grasping at straws. I mean, like what just happened, we got Barbie right here that's in Canada where it's 100% legal. Nobody is out there smoking on the streets like that. Like, yeah, sure, you have those degens that will do shit. And yes, those are outliers. You know what I mean? But I'm talking about most people have some common sense and people got some class. Some people do. Now, do most? I don't know. I don't know if most people have class, but at least they're not doing that out in the fucking open. You know what I mean?
Everywhere.
I mean, it was basically 100% legal to do in California, but yet I didn't smoke on the street like that. I wasn't walking up and down fucking smoking joints and shit, hitting a bong or something. Now, hell no. You know what I mean? Hell no. I don't know why people would want to do that. And I didn't see that in California either. So I think DeSantis is grasping at straws here.
Like we've seen what's happened in some of these other jurisdictions around the country. This doesn't respect that freedom. There is nothing in this amendment in the text that limits the ability to use marijuana in public. When they say it's about private, that's not what is in here. This is an unfettered constitutional right where there can be no penalties in any way for possession and use. Well, I mean, how are you going to be able to restrict it in public places if you can't do it?
And I didn't know that, Steve. He says in Florida, you have to register as a felon forever. And if you forget, they arrest you. They can stop and ID you at any time. It's like crazy 1984 shit. That is crazy.
Oh, shit.
Damn, bro.
And they could have written a provision in here that
I'm
said
serious.
the legislature shall be able to do time, place, and manner restrictions. Interestingly enough, in Florida's...
And I agree with that, Carney. You see what I'm on, right now. Look, I'm not out there, smoking actual tobacco flower stuff, right? I'm doing it off of vape. Why wouldn't you? No smell.
Scheme, it limits use of medical marijuana or allows the limitation of medical marijuana to not be used in public. So if this passes, it'll actually be, if you read the text of what the Constitution will say, it will provide for limiting public use of medical marijuana, but not recreational marijuana. How ridiculous is that to be in your Constitution? So this authorizes rampant public use of marijuana. Has that worked out well in Denver? Has that...
It's like alcohol. Can you walk up and down the streets with alcohol, Barbie? Exactly. No, you cannot. Just like you can't do that with the magic left-handed tobacco.
Worked out well in San Francisco and some of these places. And I would also point out, because some people say, oh, the legislature will come in and fix it. There's nothing in here that gives the legislature any authority to do that. It's crafted as a constitutional right, which is interesting because I don't think any other state has done it this way. Think about it. You don't have, beer is not a constitutional right. Eating potato chips is not a constitutional, like why this one product, this one drug are you making it? This is an anomaly. Like that's never how we've done business. It's one thing to remove criminal liability, even though we don't have.
Theoretically, I mean, just a piece of paper that the doc that signed you off saying that would be a benefit for you. That's literally the only difference.
But effectively for possession and use, simple use. But this is written in a way that's going to have...
Man, are you sure that it's not way less than that? Like, I heard that it's like damn near like you have a fucking single joint in Texas and you get caught with that. I heard you get fucked up. You know what I mean? Like in the legal system, I heard it's real bad over there.
Huge ramifications for how Florida is governed into the future. So if you're somebody that's out there, and I'm sympathetic to this view, say, look, marijuana is not for me, but people want to do it on their own time in their home, whatever, it's none of my business. I just don't want to have to be, smelling it everywhere.
Exactly,
I go or seeing it being
Papa.
used or...
Exactly. Hence why not everybody wants to sign up for that shit, right?
Having people drive while high and all this stuff. Just understand the way this is written, you may not have any interest in marijuana, but marijuana will have interest in you. And this will impact the quality of life and the culture of the state of Florida. There's just no other way about it. And I can tell you that
they definitely can be, Steve.
You should never vote for an amendment if they're telling you, oh, yeah, it's flawed. It can be fixed by the legislature. Why the hell didn't they write a good amendment to begin with then? Why should you vote for something and then pray that the legislature is going to fix it? It's BS.
That is hilarious, this comment. Steve, he says, this sounds like a 1983 Nancy Reagan commercial. Yeah, straight up, say no. Just say no. Just say no. Just say no. It is the devil.
So it's obviously not about freedom, and because you're not going to be free from it, you're not going to have the freedom to grow your own. But here is how you know what the scheme is. This is one of the most egregious things I've ever seen attempted in the state of Florida. Actually, probably in it. I don't think any state anyone's had the gall to try to do this. So again. This was drafted by the CEO of a mega weed company that's put $141 million into that. So obviously they're expecting a major payoff. And how do they ensure that? Well, the one, like I said.
Most likely, I could definitely see him doing that in the next election, 100%. What's up, Bob? Over there in Biker News Canada.
That, but you can buy it from them. But then they also do this. They grant themselves and the other weed companies total immunity from civil liability or any sanctions under Florida law. And so, if you read this, again, this is not in the ballot summary. If you read the ballot summary, you'd have no idea this is here. But this is under the section about the medical marijuana, about the marijuana companies. So it says, any of these companies acting in accordance with this section as it relates to acquiring, cultivating, processing, manufacturing, selling, and distributing marijuana products and marijuana accessories to adults for personal use shall not be subject to criminal or civil liability or sanction under Florida law. Do you see any exceptions in that language? This matters. The language they use really matters. So this is like an immunity shield that even would make Big Pharma blush. This is Big Pharma on steroids to have blanket immunity. So what does that mean? Well, if they sell you defective marijuana, you can't sue them. If they're distributing it, truck of marijuana going to a dispensary and they run somebody over, they have immunity for distribution. You can't sue them. Is there anybody that can honestly justify this language being in Florida's Constitution? And think about it. The way this petition amendment process was envisioned in 1968 when Florida's Constitution was created, they never envisioned that there would be one company that would spend 140. What they thought, 140 million, they thought it would be like, you know, PTA moms, you know, working in the neighborhood to get petitions to do something, you know, whatever. And if that was how this came into being, you would have had a totally different amendment written. If this was grassroots activism, there's no way grassroots activists would have immunized these big companies. It just would not have happened. So this is very reckless to put in the Constitution. Again, on your ballot, if you read it, you would have no clue that that was in here. You got to read the actual text of the amendment, and that's that. And I think it's really, really outrageous that one company would write it and provide that level of immunization for themselves. So this will cause huge problems. I don't think any other state has anything even close to this. So you can think about kind of how this has worked out in other states.
This motherfucker had organized a whole ass press conference because he's salty about this fucking one thing on the ballot. That's crazy. That's crazy that you would rather talk about that right this second than, you know, what's going on. Hey, whatever, man, whatever.
And I think it's worked out very terribly in these states, but that's just scratching the surface with this amendment. I think Florida's going to have way more problems than any of those states had because
wow,
this
Pablo,
matters.
I'm glad they got with the times.
This is what courts are going to apply. And when you write a blanket immunity, I can tell you this. If this passes, they go in, they sell somebody weed, it's defective, maybe someone has a seizure, and they go into court. Do you think the weed company's lawyers are going to say, oh, yeah, you know, we're liable? Or are they going to cite this provision and say we're immune? Of course they're going to cite the provision. That's why it's there. So really, really reckless that's going on. Now,
yes, he is, Nicole.
You'll also hear...
We're watching this in 4K live.
Well, this will generate huge amounts of money for education and for law enforcement. Again, the text of this amendment.
Well, I guess I'm a full-on degen, Anson Knowles. I mean, I think I do pretty fine for myself.
There is nothing in this amendment that allocates any funding, zero, zilch, to education, to law enforcement, or to anything. In fact, there's no guarantee the legislature would even tax it. But here's the problem when you tax it. It raises the price. What does that do to the black market? It increases the black market because the black market can service the consumers at a lower price. Obviously, when you're removing any prohibitions and people are using it in public and it becomes a bigger part of the culture, use increases and demand increases.
100%,
so that black market will grow dramatically. So this idea, they'll run these commercials. Oh, let's have a safe, regulated market. Get rid of marijuana on the street. Colorado, California, New York, everywhere that's done it, without fail, the black market has ballooned. It's gotten much bigger. So do not vote for this thinking that the black market will go away. It will not. It will get bigger, and they'll have an ability to undercut the price as a result of this amendment. So that whole thing is just nonsense. It's not going to raise revenue. And in Colorado, I think initially it did raise revenue. Now it's totally cratered. So like they have obligations that they're trying to fulfill, thinking that, you know, the weed would just let them ride and they could just get all this money. That hasn't happened. And it's also the case, let's just be clear about Florida. Since I've been governor, we've tripled our rainy day fund. We've paid off 36% of our state's historical debt. Since the 1840s to the present, we paid off 36%. So
that's something worth clapping about.
We have the lowest.
I love how he had to throw that in there to get a fucking some sort of audience, you know, something there, because everyone's been quiet as fuck in this audience, dude.
Per capita debt, state debt in all of the United States of America. We've cut taxes. We've done all this. I vetoed billions of dollars in spending to make sure our budget that we're, I think we're one of the only states. We had a budget this year, current fiscal year, where we're spending less than we did last year. So, and we have a massive surplus.
Appreciate you,
Space. We don't need weed money. I mean, first of all, we wouldn't get money from it. It didn't work that way, but we don't need any of this. We have massive surplus, massive fiscal position. I know, Lee. And we're really the envy of the country when it comes to fiscal. And I'm proud of that, but don't act like somehow this is going to be some windfall. It's not, and it's certainly there's no money that's earmarked to education or the like. Now, you also have this reality of looking at Colorado, looking at California, looking at some of those places. It's instructive. There is no way, there's no reason to think somehow Florida would not have the negative impacts that have been had there. In fact, there's a lot of reason because of how this is written that they'll be exacerbated in Florida. But one of the things that's happened in Colorado is there's been a huge increase in traffic accidents and fatalities because of people driving while high. And the problem with it is, obviously, if more people are using, you have that. You know, with alcohol, which is also a problem driving while intoxicated. But if you're swerving and you get pulled,
no, that's way worse. By the way, just so you know, it's way the fuck worse. I don't advocate for either, but there are levels to this shit. If you're a drunk driver compared if you're high, I'm telling you, drunk drivers.
Over. You know, they can do a breathalyzer. There's things they can do to hold you accountable. It's very
yes, there is that, and there's also I believe in Canada they have like the mouth swabs on site so they can see if they've been actively using it while driving. I think there is that technology out there.
Hard to prove that somebody is high on marijuana, and so it ends up being a situation that there's a fake.
Are you on an iPhone or something? That must be why. If you're on an iPhone, getting a membership, they don't allow you to do it on iPhone. I don't know why. They only allow it for the very, very high, like, YouTubers and stuff like that. But it's very weird because YouTube doesn't want to give Apple a cut from the memberships. Hence why it's not offered through their, phone. So you have to use a Safari desktop app or the desktop version of YouTube, or you have to go onto your computer.
Fatal crash. Maybe they have marijuana on them. Maybe they have, and like you can kind of do it. But in run-of-the-mill situations, it's much more difficult. So Colorado saw a big increase in that.
That's hilarious.
Big increase in car insurance premiums as a result of that. And look, I'm not an expert on Colorado driving, but there's parts of Florida where we have some big problems with driving anyways. So you want to throw this into the mix? It's not going to work well for us. The other issue is, and there was a great advertising.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's right there in Saskatchewan. I can never say that properly. In Canada, they do mouth swabs on roadside check stops. See, they can tell right then and there if you've been actively using.
That was put out by, there was an ER doctor from California, and she basically said, "Look, since California did this with the marijuana, here's what I'm seeing." And so
Android,
you can't do it to anyone under 21 in California.
You should be able to see it then. You may have to restart your YouTube app and come back in. I don't know. There must be some sort of glitch or something.
The same proposal here, but the reality is they package gummies, and so it'll look like Sour Patch Kids or other types of candy that appeals to young people, and sometimes very young people. I mean, not just like 17, 18-year-olds. You're talking about 12, 13-year-old kids, that get these gummies and it causes big problems. So she's seen a big increase in emerging.
I believe Anson Knowles, so this has been before I'd even started, I'm always in the chat messaging back and forth with you guys. I call you guys the Breakfast Club. And I hang out with you guys like about 30 minutes prior to the show. And I had my own fucking comments blocked on YouTube 13 fucking times on my own platform. Like, what the fuck is going on here, YouTube? Like, seriously, there's been a couple of things I put in the chat so far, and that got blocked too. So, yeah, I think usually what causes that, honestly, is the topic. I think anytime that we're talking about a certain state, this is what happens every single time.
Emergency room visits for people that are
What's
that
up,
are doing
Wolfheim?
this stuff.
Much love and respect, kind
again,
sir.
it's an
Over there in
illicit product
Sweden.
at that point, but it's packaged and intentionally done in a way to appeal to children and to minors.
He's on a rant.
And so she's seeing that, and she's seen a big increase in that.
Hell yeah,
And
Penguin.
Here's the thing, for families, and you have young. I mean, I've got a second grader, first grader, and a kindergarten or preschooler. And I know there's a lot of Floridians that are raising kids now. Is there any reason to think that passing Amendment 3 would benefit the youth in Florida? Is there any argument that will say that it will actually be better for them?
What's
I think
up, Rich?
we all know
I see you up in here.
that, if this stuff's everywhere in society, it's going to percolate down. We've already seen how these marijuana companies have acted with these gummies and all this other stuff.
These
It will be
gummies.
bad for kids. That's just the reality. And so just understand that and accept that. I don't see how you can argue any other way. So this is a really serious thing to put in a constitution.
That's good.
And I
Ohio
would-
did that.
Obviously, if you're not someone that's enthusiastic about marijuana, I think it's probably a pretty easy no for you. If you're somebody that's indifferent about marijuana, just the
That's
way
right,
it's
Shelby.
written, who's it's written.
He's doing a call to action right now. We got a call to action. We're doing a nice little halt to the show. You know what I mean? Hey, make sure to hit that like button. It's the #1 metric of all of YouTube, man. It goes very far. And also, if you guys are new here, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below, man. I very much appreciate all of you guys, man. Let's fucking get it in, man. Wake up.
The fact that this is a big corporate scheme, you should probably, not want to do. But even if you're enthusiastic about marijuana, and even if you're not satisfied that we already have almost 1 million people on marijuana cards and nobody's in jail for it and all that other stuff, this is not the way you would go about doing this. I mean, this is the last way you would go about doing it, but you understand why it was written the way it was, because it will, if passed.
There is a couple of things in that bill that I personally don't like as a somebody that I guess you would consider a supporter of this. There is a couple of things that he did bring up in the bill that I do believe is ridiculous, such as not being able to grow your own, which is crazy. That they can only make money essentially when you buy. Well, they only made it legal to buy and use their product, which is bullshit. If it's going to be legal, it should be legal. I would personally vote no on this, and then I would wait for better legislation to come through. You know what I mean? To where we can actually vote on that, and it be where it's actually freedom. You know what I mean?
Serve
Fuck
its
that shit.
intended purpose. And the intended purpose is not to benefit you.
Same here,
not to
Dwayne.
preserve your freedom, not to benefit the state of Florida. It's simply to guarantee them profits on the backs of the people and consumers in Florida. So even if you're very enthusiastic in that way, understand what this is. And so I appreciate everybody just going into it eyes wide open. Please read the text of the amendment for yourself.
I agree with that. Do your own research. You know what I mean? Do your own research. All right, that's enough of this guy. I've had enough of the media today. We've had some craziness that we've covered all throughout this morning. We very first started on what was going on with Lebanon and what happened with that. With the IDF reported that they have 60 that they have killed in an Israeli airstrike in Lebanon. So we covered that. Then we covered a whole bunch of stuff regarding the election. And if you guys are interested, man, please go back and make sure you guys go check it out. If you guys came from, if you guys came in the middle of the show or something like that, or you guys came through Glenn Lawrence's raid, man, I very much appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart. Today, guys, we're going to give you guys we're going to be giving you guys a raid. I usually don't raid, but we've got somebody that is live that I know you guys are going to have entertainment. Okay. I've been shown him as of recently. His name is Chaotic Truth. Okay, guys. So we're going to go ahead and send you guys over to there. Go ahead and make sure to show him love and respect over there. It's going to be kind of crazy. There's always crazy chats going on over there. Beware, be ready, and it's going to be a good-ass time. Thank you guys for contributing and your patronage to the channel, man. Your guys' gifted memberships and your donations go very far, man. I can't thank you guys enough for supporting the live stream, man. Much love, honor, respect to everybody. We'll see you guys tonight at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. We are doing the Diamond Effect with Archbishop, as you guys already know. So we're going to get down with our bad selves. Everybody have a wonderful and blessed day out there. Much love, honor, respect.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire.